Has warned that there is no winner in a trade war after US President Donald Trump unveiled a sweeping bunch of tariffs on nearly 70 countries, including a 35% hit on Canadian goods. Here's what Guo Jiakun, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, had to say.
中方反对滥施关税的立场是一贯和明确的。关税战、贸易战没有赢家。 搞保护主义，损害各方的利益。
Some nations expressed relief as rates came in lower than feared. Thailand and Cambodia welcomed a 19% levy, down from 36% to 40%, while Vietnam earlier secured 20%. However, Washington said they will impose a 40% surcharge on transshipped goods, raising concern in Southeast Asia, where supply chains are deeply linked to China. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te said its 20% tariff was temporary, while Switzerland voiced great regret at a surprise 39% rate, despite billions in US investment. Japan, which agreed to a 15% tariff, continues to press Washington to lower auto duties already at 25%. Malaysia has hailed its 19% rate as a positive outcome, while Sri Lanka welcomed a reduction to 20% from a staggering 44%, stressing its reliance on garment exports to the United States. China itself remains in negotiations ahead of an August the 12th deadline. We're now joined by Dr. Satoru Nagao, who is a fellow at the Hudson Institute. He joins us from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you very much, Dr. Nagao, for joining us on the program. A scuffle of information has come out today, widely ranging tariffs, some higher than expected, some much lower than expected. How is this going to affect the state of global trade, given the state that it was previously when Donald Trump announced those tariffs in April? How would you compare the two to how they are actually going to come into effect, most of which on August the 7th?
View from the Trump administration's tariff policy, there are the three types of tariff. One is against China, only the imposing, and another one is changing the rule of the global free trade. This is the second type of tariff. Imposing to many countries at the same time is this type of tariff. And the third one is, I called, this is rehabilitation of the military industry tariff. This is imposing to the car industry, the aluminum, steel, this one, or shipbuilding also. This is directly linked with military industry. So these three types of tariff the Trump administration is using, but one by one they are setting up. Especially the second one is imposing the many countries at the same time, because changing the global free trade rule, and it will be so-called international trade with tariff. This is the new rule instead of the global free trade. Under such kind of situation, U.S. has advantage in this case because under the global free trade, which is the traditional one, China grows faster than the United States. So China will catch up to the United States finally. So to prevent this, the United States need to change the rule itself, but in this case, without imposing tariff to other countries, U.S. cannot change the rule. So firstly, they impose this and changing the global free trade. After that, they will negotiate with China by using the tariff. This would be the second step. Will follow after this negotiation with other country. So that's why which country agree with the United States indicate the U.S. strategy. Firstly, Indo-Pacific partners is lining up to Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, or Japan also, South Korea also. These countries agree with the tariff negotiation with the United States because U.S. focusing on this region, but not include China. And the U.S. also agree with the British and the EU. These are the U.S. allies also. So after negotiate with these allies, they will negotiate with China. This is a long-term strategy of the United States just now.
Dr. Nagao, does the US risk isolating itself with its strategy? And does it force the world to look more to China in their trade route?
China do not have enough money to deal with because of the changing rule of the global free trade means that China cannot get enough income. And in this case, under the new rule, US can get more money. Why US pressure is possible and other countries need to agree with the United States? Because United States has such kind of potential. US economy is still grow and not ignorable for other countries. So other countries cannot ignore the United States. That's why they negotiate and agree. So even if it looks like US is not popular, Trump administration policy is not popular, still many countries try to negotiate with the United States, not isolated. This is the potential of the US power. So we cannot ignore the United States. That's why we negotiate. So after that, they can change the rule itself. And under the new rule, they will negotiate with China and crush China down, something like that, because of the competition. So this is the process of the Trump administration. Yes, this is not popular just now, but at the same time in the future, the US shows strong influence to decide the rules everyone in the world needs to admit because it is fact.